Om Shanti. Good morning. We're just waiting for everyone to arrive and find a seat. But in the meantime, it's lovely to be with the bigger family of Colombo. I've been here over a week now, but lovely to have a chance to meet everybody. And this is my first time I've been staying. This is my first time I've been staying in Kotahena, which has been very lovely. The sisters have looked after me very well. Sometimes when I really reflect on my Brahman life, I love to ask myself some questions. Maybe I'll just wait a minute because there's many who still haven't got translation. Just have a few more minutes meditation. Om Shanti. We'll try again. So often I love to ask myself questions. And sometimes I ask, why did I come to Baba? Why did I take on this life? And the answer is always to transform myself and become pure. After all these years, if I ask myself that question again, why am I still here? Why am I still with Baba? It's the same answer, to transform myself and become pure. And what is the method? It's remembrance. And sometimes I think there's one soul in eternity that retains absolute truth. There's one soul that's never influenced, who retains the ocean of knowledge, Shiv Baba. And what's his main advice to me every single day? Remembrance, 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 remembrance. And I think in the heart of every Brahman, I feel, I love Baba, I have faith in Baba, I do Baba's service, but how much do I remember Baba? Is that true? I think it is for me. And it's almost like we absorb the ocean of knowledge for one thing, to keep my intellect with one as I fulfill all responsibilities in my life. And sometimes I ask, what sustains me? What is honestly sustaining me in this life? Is it faith? Is it mainly I have faith in Shiv Baba? So that's more the devotee intellect. The devotee intellect has strong faith, it's good. Is it Gyan? The Gyani intellect, I love Baba's truth. That's also good, but sometimes if it's only Gyan, I can become a little bit dry inside. Is it service? Is it mainly the doing intellect? This intellect has been absolutely a part of my life for half the cycle, doing to get love, to get an experience. This is the methodology we've used for half a cycle, do an action to get a feeling. Or is it the Brahman family? Am I really sustained by the Brahman family, that when I'm in the gathering I feel light, I feel happy, but when I'm away from the gathering I can feel a bit lonely? Or is it my relationship with Baba? Is it the account of remembrance? Because am I a yogi soul? Because ultimately, where we get spiritual power, not just faith, but spiritual power, is remembrance. We all know this. And I often wonder, to ask my heart, what is really sustaining me? And what I feel after all my years as a BK, I love everything natural. I feel the true Raja Yoga is absolutely natural. And if I'm forcing myself, pushing myself, pressuring myself, I'm still doing devotion. I have a religious approach to Gyan. Once I asked Sister Jenti, what have you learnt most from Daddy Janki? As you know, Jenti Ben has shared a room with Daddy for 50 plus years. You know what she said? How to love Baba. Actually, this whole life is about my relationship with Baba. The most natural thing that for all of us is to fall in love. There's nothing more natural. And I would say, what is Raja Yoga? What is this life? It's just falling in love with Shiv Baba. Because when I naturally fall in love, I naturally remember. I'm not thinking, I should remember, or I'm forgetting. It's a natural consequence of love. And when I naturally remember the one who's incorporeal, egoless and viceless, what do I become? I naturally transform. It's a natural process of remembrance. And when I naturally transform, I naturally serve. I don't serve because I've got a clever intellect, because I'm very intellectual. My face, my vibrations, my presence does natural service. And I really feel this is the real method of Raja Yoga. Just to naturally fall in love with Shiv Baba, and everything begins to flow on from there. And I've always been fascinated, when we read the Murli, does Baba say, children, meditate on me? Anyone ever heard that? He never says. We use it for the public. Even Baba says yoga is a word of devotion. The word God uses is remembrance. Why? Because remembrance is the most natural thing in the human consciousness. There's nothing more natural at every millisecond. Even as you're sitting here and I'm speaking, the subtle thread of your intellect is remembering maybe what I'm saying, or something at home, or something you have to do. You know how the subtle thread is always traveling and remembering. It's the most natural thing. And this is why I really feel that this is the number one subject of this life. Yes, I might do a lot of service. Yes, I have a lot of faith in Baba. Yes, I'm committed to this life, all those things, but how much have I really created the account of remembrance? Because what I began to observe is that when you remember, three things happen. First, you connect. So when you remember Baba or even a person, you connect. Secondly, instantly, whatever you connect with will influence you. And thirdly, whatever influences you, that's how you feel inside. So even if you're sitting here in Kotahena Center in Murli, and your intellect travels home to a child or a family member, the instant you connect with them, if it's a loving, close relationship, you're influenced by that love and you feel peaceful and calm. But if you're sitting here at this very second and your intellect travels home and you remember a child or a family member, you're not getting on well. There's conflict, there's differences, there's problems. The instant you touch, you feel peaceless inside. You're influenced by that. And so your stage is unstable. Fundamentally, this whole life depends on what I remember. This whole life depends on my connection. And fundamentally, we know the more I remember Shiv Baba, I'm influenced by the ocean of love, the ocean of peace, the ocean of purity. And that's, I live stream Baba's vibrations into me. And this is really the real Raja Yoga, to have this natural, loving relationship. And that the whole of this study is really learning to keep the subtle thread of my intellect with Shiv Baba as I do everything. And sometimes I think, this subtle thread, your intellect's always traveling. It's going to the past, remembering somebody, I've got to do something, and it's connecting. And so whatever I connect with, that's how I feel. So I fluctuate. And if I dwell on a problem, if my subtle thread, Baba says, children, remember me, keep your intellect, but I have a problem and I think about it, I dwell on it, I go deep into it, I focus on it, and then I go right, my stage goes right down, and I wonder why I'm not happy. Why am I not happy? Because the subtle thread, I've put myself under the influence of something temporary and something really limited. When I remember Shiv Baba, I'm influenced by Baba, the highest vibrations. I download these high vibrations in my mind, and that sustains me. It sustains the atmosphere around me, and it sustains the people I love. I really feel all we have to do in our family, so many people don't want to listen to Baba's knowledge. They don't want us to preach. But just when you remember Baba, you create a fragrance, a perfume in the atmosphere. That sustains the atmosphere, that sustains the one you love. But when the subtle thread is constantly going to bodily beings, whether it's the Brahman family or others, thinking, why are they this, why that, this should happen, that should happen, I download a low vibration in my mind. I'm Baba's child, but I'm not that happy. I have faith, but I'm not really very happy. Why? The first Srimat is children forget the body and the relations of the body and remember me alone. This is the ultimate truth from God. Am I following this? Or do I just let my intellect constantly wander to people, the family, why this, why that? And then I'm a Brahman, but I'm not that happy because I'm not really on this pilgrimage. And if I even, the subtle thread's always remembering me, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm inferior to others, lowest vibration. And this is why really this whole study, I would say, is to keep the subtle thread of my intellect with Shiv Baba as I go about my life, as I look after my family, as I do service, as I do absolutely everything. And there's 3 laws of remembrance. 3 laws of remembrance. The first, pay attention to what you remember. And I believe that Brahma Baba, to me now effort is paying attention. I think Brahma Baba had this incredible attention on wherever the subtle thread went. And when the subtle thread went in the wrong direction, he would pull it back instantly. I've been trying to do this. As soon as you see yourself dwelling on a problem or dwelling on a family member that you're finding difficult, bring it back and remember Baba. If Baba says, create a habit of remembrance. Because why is this so important? Because coming into the future, we need to be spiritually powerful. It's remembrance that is going to make me powerful, unshakable, immovable, and stable. And this is why really the more I'm practicing to keep this subtle thread with Baba, pay attention. So the first law, pay attention to where this subtle thread travels. And it can do it instantly. In 1 second, can travel to many directions. Second, whatever I remember, whatever I connect the subtle thread, will influence me. It will affect me. I would say, if I'm not that happy, if I don't feel happy, there's one question to ask myself. Only one question. What have I been remembering? Try it. If you're going about the day and you're feeling a bit flat, a bit empty, ask yourself, what have I been remembering? You'll notice you've been worrying, you've been a bit anxious, you're feeling a little bit irritated, you're remembering something of the drama or bodily being. This is the effort of Brahman life. And thirdly, whatever I am influenced by, that's really my stage. Ultimately, whatever your subtle intellect is remembering, that's your stage. And really, I would say this is our study. To live in this world and keep on this pilgrimage of my subtle thread connecting with Baba. But sometimes it's like a tug of war. What is more powerful on my intellect? Is it the karmic story keeps pulling me towards the family and the situations, the problems, or is it my remembrance, the intellect of remembrance? This is really the tug of war all of us have to face. But the more I keep practicing, the more I build the account of remembrance, I will become strong. And one of the times I was observing Daddy Nirmala Shanta meet Baba. And I think everyone knows Daddy Nirmala Shanta was Baba's Lokik daughter. And Baba gave her drishti. And then Baba said, "You're busy, aren't you?" She said, "Yes, Baba." And then Baba gave her more drishti. And Baba said, "You're very busy, aren't you?" She said, "Yes, Baba." And then Baba said one thing which I feel has made a big difference to my life. Baba said, "Many drops make an ocean." Drops of remembrance make an ocean of remembrance. And Baba said that when you finish a meeting and you walk down the passage, remember Baba. When you go to get a glass of water, remember Baba. When you finish the Murli and you walk to the front gate, remember Baba. All those little moments in the day that if I remember Baba, I build an ocean of yoga power, of remembrance. I become strong. I become stable. So I began to practice that. Really trying to, in those moments, we think we're busy. Actually, we're not busy. Quite frankly, mentally, most of the time we're free. But we just let my intellect wander here, wander there, think about this. Whatever I see through my sense organs, I think about. It triggers thinking I hear. We just let my mind wander everywhere. But this life is to pay attention. And what I began to observe is that the habit often is when you have a meeting or you talk to somebody and you walk away, you begin to analyze what they said or process what they said or how I felt. Rather than going to Baba, we sort of process life, try to understand. And if we really begin to make this habit of all these moments during the day, go to Baba, go to Baba, go to Baba, really we will become spiritually strong. Because we are in the final period of the confluence age. Everything out there is going to go into upheaval. And if I haven't built this internal spiritual power, it's going to affect me. And this is why I would say our main service is not talking to the people out there. That's important. It's actually making myself spiritually strong by really being on this pilgrimage of remembrance. And even what I began to do is realize that, you know how sometimes in the day you listen to the Murli and then you're busy, you have to go home, change your clothes, go to work. So my mind starts to go there. And by morning tea, at work, we sit down and we think, oh, I've hardly remembered Baba. You know how, and then we get to lunchtime and I think, haven't remembered Baba. Do it in little chunks, like when you finish the Murli, going home, how much do I remember Baba? As I prepare and eat breakfast, how much do I remember Baba? As I prepare myself for work, how much do I remember Baba? As I take the bus or train or walk, how much do I remember Baba? So I'm actually observing and building up the most important thing of this life. Because what I'm seeing is that in this period we're about to enter in the drama, everything is going to go into upheaval. And I have to be detached. And I would say the natural byproduct of a yogi who really remembers Baba, you become naturally detached. You know, detachment is my natural state. In the Golden Age, we're completely detached. And yet we're totally loving. And this is really Baba's detachment. Baba's detachment is to be very loving, very close, good communication, but uninfluenced by. Because the more I'm lost in Baba's remembrance, the more I'm lost in Baba, automatically I'm pulled beyond the influences of people, situations, opinions, ideas, all the things that normally engage my mind. Because I really feel, once Baba said, children, if you don't become detached now, you'll have to become detached by compulsion. The drama's going to push me. And that won't be a comfortable thing. And this is why really, sometimes we realize we're too affected by the family or affected by situations. And so we sort of say, Baba, you know, I must be detached, I must be detached. You know, we chant it like a mantra. But do I get detached? No. It's actually the more I remember Baba, the more I'm beyond with Baba, the more I am naturally uninfluenced by things around me. And yet, I think it's traffic control.
अंतर मन में ज्योति जगा लो, होगा दूर अंधेरा। शिव का कर लो ध्यान, आ रहा पावन पुण्य सवेरा।
So, the more I remember Baba accurately, I will naturally become uninfluenced. I will naturally become detached. And sometimes I think, who's the most detached of all? Shiv Baba? Who's the most loving of all? Shiv Baba. Because a lot of people don't like the word detachment. Anyone here doesn't like the word detachment? Because we think it means to cut myself off, to disconnect, to be aloof, to be uncaring. It's the opposite. Baba's detachment is to be very caring and very loving. But sometimes we misinterpret detachment, and we have a sannyasi style detachment, that in the name of detachment I'm not really very responsible. I just think I don't care. Or even an escapist style of detachment. Sometimes people find life very difficult, so we sort of withdraw. But really, Baba's detachment will protect me in this final period of time. I will feel loving, close to everybody, but not influenced by all the scenes of drama and all the personalities. What is attachment? Attachment is identifying and taking support from anything temporary. When I take support from anything temporary, a relationship, a role, a responsibility, wealth, if that's not there, or I begin to fear losing that, the whole basis of fear and insecurity is dependence, is attachment. And so when I base my life on anything temporary, I will suffer. I will have a lot of fear and insecurity. What is detachment? I base my life, I identify and take support only from that which is permanent, Baba, and others as souls. And really this is our life. This is our life. Learning to really remember Baba, become detached, and then we can live in this world and really serve, because we're not so influenced by all the scenes of drama. Because we're in the final period. Who feels we're in the final period? Not everyone. 90 years of the confluence age have gone by. So, today's Murli is Baba's really introducing himself. And it's a wonder really, Baba comes and really tells us what he does and what he doesn't do, to sort of disperse all our devotional religious ideas of who God is and what God does and what God doesn't do. What do you feel about the quality of your remembrance? You know, is there volcanic yoga? You know, I think sometimes Baba's children we just sit down and we want to go completely to Baba, and the mind wanders here and the mind wanders there. And when that happens a lot, we lose a bit of confidence that I can have quality yoga. Because that volcano that burns the impurity, that remembrance of absolutely lost in the love of one, is the quality we want to reach. But actually it's a result of all aspects of your life. And only when each part of your Brahman life is accurate does the volcano explode and the fire really purifies the soul. So we have to prepare each stage. To me, the foundation, you know, once Baba said, the two principles of freedom, because in a way as we build our yoga stage, we're freeing myself from waste thought, attractions, influences. And Baba said the 2 points of freedom are the foundation of yoga. The first law of freedom is really, mine is one Shiv Baba and none other. This is the seed of yoga. And secondly, nothing is mine, everything is Baba's. Because when that's at the seed of my yoga, I will be pulled to Baba. Otherwise, I'm pulled to human beings and I'm pulled to my responsibilities and my material things. So the foundation of yoga is to have these two seeds in my thinking. The second, to build this volcano accurately, the second step is my lifestyle. Actually, many times I feel when we don't meditate well, it's not when I sit for 1 hour, it's the 18 hours of the day. Because if I'm doing little karmas, a bit inaccurate, a little bit irritated, gossiping, criticizing, when I sit to remember Baba, my intellect is pulled to that inaccurate karma. And that's why really, if I really want this quality of yoga, I have to really follow Baba's directions. To me, Srimat is not rules and regulations. Srimat's a deep code of truth that's going to free my mind from all the wandering. So I lay the foundation. I have an accurate lifestyle. Thirdly, true practice of soul consciousness. Really, God is eternally soul conscious. Baba is eternally soul conscious. If I want to come close to Baba, I have to be like him too. And to me, it's a long story, but I've done so many experiments in the laboratory of my mind to become soul conscious. What's the feeling of being incorporeal? What's the feeling of being eternal? You know, the soul, how deeply have we understood? You know, in science now, some say this body, biologists say, is made of 30 trillion cells. Not billion, trillion. The soul is more subtle than one cell. How minute. I, the soul, I'm such a subtle entity. And then so I'm building my yoga stage. And fourthly, love. Love is the power that takes you beyond the body. And fifthly, silence. It's like when I built my pyramid, my volcano accurately, I come in front of Shiv Baba and my sense organs are pulling me to do this, to think about this, what about this. I'm absolutely present in front of Shiv Baba. And I can feel Shiv Baba's light and might entering me, cleaning me, purifying me. Nothing is pulling me away, and it's then I really feel I know what Baba wants from me. But it's not that I can just sit down and go there. I have to really prepare each part of my stage accurately. So we're having points this month on volcanic yoga. Okay, everyone. So I think we will have a few announcements.